Hello and good time zone, everybody. Welcome to Horde of Tales. It is Tuesday. Usually, Tuesdays are our typical Dungeons and Dragons day here, but we're taking a week off as we're preparing for our big final session of the Convergence Manifesto. So today, we won't have dramatic escapades in the realms of Eberron, but we're gonna sit down, relax, and build a little map together. We haven't done that in a while. My name is Markus, also known as Such Individual. I'm a pale Caucasian male with a dark beard, dark brown hair, glasses with black rims, and today in a reddish button-up shirt. And I will be building a map with all of you together today. And just like in our previous little mapping streams, we're going to be using Dungeondraft for that. Dungeondraft is a piece of fantastic map-making software created by Megasploot. You can check it out, and I would definitely suggest it to everyone who wants to build their own battle maps for their games. And as in the previous two streams that we've been, I think the last one, the second one of this map making builds streams was like already in last November or something. So it's been a while since we've done this. And I'm really looking forward to it because I really like showing people how to make their own cool stuff for their TTRPGs, be it Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, or any other kind of game that needs a battle map. In the previous two streams, we made outdoorsy maps. The first one was a pretty nice and tranquil by the river bandit assault. The second one was a very cold and wintry, slightly haunted map. And I was thinking for today, we're going to do the absolute classic. We're going to be making a dungeon. Well, not a full dungeon. I don't think we can build a full dungeon in the time that we have today, but we can build a few rooms. We can make a cute little dungeon that young and new adventurers might delve into to make their name in the world. Or maybe a kind of dungeon that is a nice little side quest for your ongoing campaign. Or just a map that you can have ready whenever your players go off the beaten path. Well, without further ado, let's start building our map. Now, to start out, I have a blank canvas here. We have a 30 by 30 tile map here, and we're going to fill this. There's always something exciting about a blank canvas. It's both inspiring and also a little bit daunting to just have an empty page. It's like if you start writing a story and you just have the blank page, there's so much possibility, but at the same time, you don't know exactly where you want to take this, where you want to go. And at this point, I'm still thinking, what kind of dungeon will this be? Because before I start making a dungeon, I kind of want to know what this dungeon is about. How did it come to be? What was it used for originally? Is it maybe still used for its original purpose? And what's its current state? In what kind of state do the adventurers find it when they come into the dungeon? For today, I want to keep it a little bit basic, a little bit simple. And I think one of these classic adventure hooks every young adventuring party has is investigating some haunted crypt somewhere in a graveyard nearby town. Outside at the edges of the graveyard, there's this old crypt with old graves underground that hasn't been used for a while. And maybe some supernatural, paranormal activity has been starting there. And now the mayor of the town needs some help in trying to investigate what's happening there. Is it truly the restless spirits of those who were buried there? Or is something else going on? Well, let's see if we can find that out as we build our dungeon today. So, everything begins somewhere. And I like to begin when I make a dungeon. I like to start with the floor plan, just getting an idea of the shapes and places that we want to have. Now, Dungeondraft has two ways to go about this. On the left-hand side, you see that I have a building tool, and when I select that, I can pick a floor and a wall type. And if I do that, I can go in one go, draw a shape, and I get a room with a wall and everything. This is pretty neat, so you could really quickly, if you're ever in a hurry, we make this room, and then we have a hallway that leads to this room, and bada bing, bada boom, you have something already. It connects nicely to each other, but you have less control over how you want to place your walls. Maybe I want to draw a few extra walls to shut off these rooms, to create a little bit of distance. So the way I prefer to do it is, I'm going to undo these steps, is instead of going for the building tool, using my pattern shape tool, and then drawing my ground first. So I'm literally making the ground first. We have a few default assets for that ground, and since we're talking about spooky crypt, let's start drawing our ground out with this kind of tile. And at first, we do have a short little hallway. So let's say everything starts with a bit of a hallway. This is the place where the adventurers, they come down and they descend the stairs into the underground crypt. There's cobwebs and dust, and maybe already some spooky sounds that your GM will make. And that might lead us off into the first real room, maybe a kind of antechamber. And I'm going to put that in here. And from here, we might want to have some rooms leading off so that we're not just have a linear path through this little dungeon. We want to have choices. We want to have the players to pick, like, do we go to the left? Do we go to the right? To, well, not just lead them down one fixed road. So let's say we have we could have like one hall leading off over here, another one go up here, and one here. Now, as you might have noticed, all of these are very square shapes at this point. This is a very rectangular crypt. And while rectangular shapes are great, they work, one of the most successful video games in history, Minecraft, is built out of rectangular shapes. I find that a floor plan for a dungeon with just rectangular shapes can get a little bit boring to look at. And also, someone has built this crypt, and they didn't build it just with square shapes. They wanted to have some other shapes in there. So I actually gonna undo a few of these steps. And instead of using my square shape tool like I just did, I am going to select this little heart up here, because then I can just do this. And I'm going to make a little shape here. I go a little bit diagonally. Then we go diagonally here. Up. Over here. And look at that. Now, that is a little bit different already from just having a square rectangle. We have a little bit of, there's some corners here. This might be, we could later put into these corners maybe some chandeliers or something. Also, of course, already covered in dust and cobwebs. But we have some corners to things. Gives it a little bit more personality. And you see, I left some extra spaces to have some more hallways leading off of here. I'm already gonna put them in a bit. I have no clue what's down these hallways, but that's one of the things we're gonna find out as we're building this. All I know is that we have over here, the adventurers coming down, and they come into this antechamber, and they might already find some traces of what is going on in the crypt. Maybe you actually want to have your classic undead here. Maybe there are already skeletons down here, and you have your first combat encounter there. Or there's clues here to what might be going on. Maybe other people have come down here to find out what's happening in these crypts, and the adventurers actually find possessions of these people, find traces of them. So we'll see what we do with that later as we fill in the shapes. So this is our little antechamber, and as this is a crypt, we need to have, of course, some spaces where, well, people could be buried, people could be put to rest in the crypt. And in many crypts, that's probably in some room where the casket or the sarcophagus has been placed into the room. And I'm thinking we're going to have one of these passes here. That's going to lead to one of those burial chambers. And I'm just going to use my polygonal tool over here and not do this. This is not what I want. This is a Q triangle, but it is not what I want. I'm going to undo that. I actually wanted to move the map a little. And I'm just going to add a few corners here, like this. And then go here, like that. Give it a bit of shape here, like this. All right. Now, this is going to be one of the burial chambers that we have. There's these little alcoves here. We're probably going to put some of the sarcophagi in there, and at the end of the room, we could maybe put in some elevation to maybe there's an old altar there, or somewhere where people who have come to pay respects to their ancestors can sit down and contemplate for a moment. So that's going to be here on this side. And we do have a left side. We did put a path here that we could have lead somewhere, but I am not sure yet what I want to put here. We're going to put a pin in it for now. Instead, we might want to see if we want to continue this hallway. So this was the antechamber. We have a burial chamber over here. So maybe there is not just one burial chamber, but maybe there's another burial chamber leading off further into the central part of the crypt. And maybe some other family members were put to rest here. Maybe this is even a fancy crypt that had its own little chapel built into the crypt, its own little place of worship for whatever kind of patron saint or deity watches over the dead in your world. So we're going to give this a little bit of a hallway, a few steps that we can take down here, and that leads us off into that extra chamber. I think I'm actually gonna, zooming out a little bit, I have ample space on my canvas still. I do like to start out on a larger canvas when I start making maps. If I end up not using the space, you can use Dungeondraft's features to decrease the size of your canvas. Though I would always suggest to save before you do that, because if you're not careful about by how much you decrease the canvas size, you end up deleting parts of your map, and that's not fun for anyone. So I'll put a larger chamber over here. Let's maybe do it like this. All right. In here. Okay. Now, this could indeed be our chapel part up here. And again, we can have things branching off from here even further. I did mention earlier that it's interesting to give players options to pick from as they explore a dungeon, especially in your classic dungeon crawl where you're putting this map down in front of the players. Have them pick. And let's see what we can branch off here later on. But for now, I'm going to leave that like that. That's fine. Now, over on this side, I think if this is the kind of crypt that has its own chapel built in, maybe has some extra space for other family members to also be buried, this is a place that was probably originally built by some kind of wealthy family, some kind of rich people. And I bet they probably would have some place to also display paintings or statues of the family members that were put to rest here. Of course, that part of the crypt was in times long past guarded well. Maybe they had even like some kind of night watch for it or something, but might by now even attract people who want to get the valuables from what's in there. But we're going to use that. We're going to make a little gallery over here. Let's see. Like this. So we would actually, from the antechamber, this little side room could have also maybe some tablets on the wall that talk about the family history of the family that is buried here or has their family members, has places reserved for them here. Maybe even a big statue of some kind of ancestral figure from the family. That could all be over here. And before you know it, I'm going to zoom out a little. We have a bit of a basic layout. We have a floor plan, we have a few rooms, we have the antechamber here, we have the burial chamber here, there is the gallery over here, and then we have our chapel up here. And now, this is all happening a little bit underground. And one thing that you have a lot in many fantasy settings is underground caves. Maybe this crypt was built nearby an underground cave system. And those caverns, maybe even the original builders didn't know about them, but in time, in like the hundreds of years that this crypt has lain forgotten somewhere, maybe some people have dug through those caves. There's tunnels, or maybe some kind of earthquake or earth slide caused some of the walls to collapse, and that connects now with the cave. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to go to our cave brush over here. Dungeondraft has a feature called Cave Brush, and what you're going to see is when I use this brush, I highlight a bit of terrain, and it gives me a cave area here, which is pretty neat because I can just go and say, I want to have a bit of a cave area over here, like this. And you can even, if you hold down your Alt button on your keyboard and then start painting, you can remove cave to create this, well, cave-less spot and create these kind of these tunnels in your cave. Also, once I have drawn a bit of cave, say I draw it over here. Now, what you're going to notice is that there is now a bit of the cave's wall that overlaps with my actual dungeon, with the floor plan. That's, of course, a little bit silly because I want to break open the wall. Well, we're in luck because Dungeondraft has an option called Blast Open. This is one of the other brush modes it has. We were in the dig cave brush mode, literally digging a cave here. And now we're gonna blast it open a bit. I'm gonna make my brush a bit smaller. I'm gonna put it over here. And you see that it removes the wall. And we can actually have a somewhat neat, somewhat nice overlap between wall and, or well, between the crypt and the cave next to it. So what I think we're going to have here is that there was actually, in time, parts of the walls over here in the gallery have collapsed, which have given entrance to a nearby cave that is next to here. And actually, that cave, in turn, will connect... Oops, I'm in the wrong mode. We don't want to blast open, we want to dig. This cave over here... I actually want to have it connect to the outside. And how we're going to do that... Let me here a little bit. I want to remove a few parts. Create a little bit of... Make this... Yeah, let's see. This looks great. And I want to, with my water brush... Yeah, this works perfectly. So, what I actually want to do is maybe this cave connects to some kind of alcove outside. The waves rolling into this cave, and that gives our crypt an alternative point of entry that the player characters in this hypothetical scenario in which you want to use this dungeon could find out about. That instead of just going through the front door of the crypt, they might know, hey, this was built close to a cliff on the beach. Maybe we can enter it also through the alcove. Or they maybe hear that there are actually already people who use that entrance. Maybe the people who use that entrance are actually the ones that are causing these paranormal activities to keep people away from it. So many possibilities. And we haven't even finished the map. All right, so we have a little cave system here. We're going to get back to that. But first, now that I'm a little bit pleased with the shape I have here, I will start putting in walls. Because right now we only have the floor plan. We don't have much else yet. And I want to put in the walls. So that's what we're going to do. We're going over to our part over here. Go to the wall tool. And then we're going to pick our walls. We have a few default types in here. For those of you who are more familiar with Dungeondraft, you're going to notice that I use only the basic assets. But if you are interested in a lot more assets, there's so many cool creator-made or fan-made assets that you could use to make so many different styles of maps. Definitely shop around for those. There's a lot of content for it. I want to go for this. These are going to be stone walls, and I'm going to start drawing these walls. I want to start in my section that overlaps with the cave here. Well, it's not perfect, but it will do. It will do. And I'm just going to outline the outside, following the edges of my floor plan. Going like this. All around. Shapes over here. Dum, dum, dum. And Almost there. And would you look at that? We have walls. And since we also have shadows enabled on them, this already gives us some extra depth to it. There's actually some shadow coming off from these walls. Excellent. Now, I do want to put in a few extra walls to actually separate the rooms from each other, because I do think there would be doors here, and doors are great to really separate different rooms, especially when if you think more in an encounter-based structure, like in a game like D&D. And doors also create these fun scenarios for people in these dungeon crawls where instead of immediately opening the door, they lean up against it and you start gathering as much information as they can, but not opening the door. This is actually a thing that has become a little bit of a running joke in my current Pathfinder 2e home game, where we're running through the Abomination Vaults. And the Kobold Summoner, especially in the party, is always extremely careful with the doors and always tries to be like, is there a keyhole I can peek through to get as much as possible visual information? Or if I lean against the door, can I hear something from it? But just making sure I don't open the door, because if I open the door, I open the door to a possible encounter behind it. So yeah, players can get very creative with that. And sometimes you also need to tell them that's all you learn without opening the door. And that's it. So I'm going to put a wall here to our burial chamber. I'm going to put one here. These are going to become doors later. And I'm going to make a bigger wall here and a bigger wall there to have all of these nicely sectioned off. Alrighty. This is a rough floor plan. And you might have noticed I have used the same kind of floor texture anywhere. And we want to spice it up a little. I think if you use the same floor texture everywhere, it can look a little bit bland. And what I always like to experiment a little bit with is I take a different kind of tile, different kind of pattern shape tool, and I want to see if I, for example, go over here. And okay, this is purely experimental. This is now just Markus trying things out. Yeah, no, this is not what I wanted it to do. Let's see, I think I need a completely different pattern for this. Let's see. Okay, try to break up the monotony. See, now this is not the perfect example, but by using different patterns, you can highlight certain things, and that's actually what I'm trying to do with this area later on. But for example, I could literally I'm just messing around a little bit now. That isn't actually half bad. I don't mind this. Wait. Just messing around a little. Let's see. Oh, wait, no. See, what I'm gonna do here, just as a bit of a passing through, but then I'm almost inclined to do that all the way. No. See, part of my process is also just mumbling to myself, just muttering and going like, oh no, Marcus, why would you do that? That looks stupid. That's silly. No one likes that. And while I mutter to myself, I go like, oh wait, this is actually a nice idea. Maybe you should do this differently. And maybe you shouldn't remove what you just put down. But we're gonna go here and here and here. Let's see, I wanna try around a little bit. See, now for example, we have a little bit of an outside rim in this part. Maybe they decided to use a different kind of stone there, and we have this kind of difference in the textures. I do the exact same when I play House Flipper, a fake house, yet I will talk to myself constantly about him designing it. Gwamnora, that certainly is a mood. I haven't played House Flipper yet, but it sounds like the kind of game where you can really, well, mutter to yourself a lot. Oh no, the mini beatbox option wasn't removed. Wouldn't it be strange if someone redeemed that? I swear, Ida, if you do that, I will mutter even more. All right, I'm not completely pleased yet with these yet. I'm gonna play around with one more pattern, see how this looks. No. No, 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 no. What to do, what to do. Well, I think I'm just gonna redraw that one over here. I want to try a completely different tile set. I want to try a completely different pattern. Over there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there. Clicky clack, clicky clack, clicky clicky clack, clack, clicky clack, clicky clack, bits, 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 clicky, bits, bits, clicky, clicky, bits, bits, click, 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 and done. That's all you're gonna get out of that beatbox. All right. Let's see. Okay, this kind of stone tile, you know what? I'm getting hung up on tiles at this point. We're making a crypt with spooky things. I shouldn't be getting hung up on what kind of tiles the original makers put into this dungeon. Let's make some content. All right, so we have our rooms, we have the things that we want to do. Let's start adding stuff to it. So we did talk about that this part here will be our entrance. So this is where the heroes will come down and descend. And the way to mark that is first, I'm going to put in doors up there. I'm thinking that maybe there's definitely double doors up here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Double doors. Top of the stairs. Talking about stairs, we have different ways of putting in stairs. First, we could go to our objects, and I'm going to use the search function, and we have stairs as objects that we can put in. So for example, this could be stairs leading down. It's one option. We have also different kind of stairs, and if I really wanted to, whoops, it's not what I wanted. I can also scale them up a bit. Let's put them to 1.5. So I could put them in like that. However, instead of using an object, we could also use the path tool. By default, Dungeondraft comes with a few stairs path. So I can just pick that path and then draw the path out. So like this, we would have them right now, but it's a little bit thin. I'm gonna make them a little bit wider. We want to have them cover 2 tiles. Ooh, big stairs. maybe actually I'm gonna make this one tile. We could have 2 separate staircases next to each other. Now, these stairs just being put down here, this looks a little bit weird, doesn't it? If we want to have a look at it better, we can have it transition in, or even transition out at the end, so that there's a little bit of a, I have to zoom in for that. You see, it blends more with the floor on that. So that could show that the stairs kind of end there to make that clearer. And I'm actually gonna put the, what does grow do? Oh, grow is funky. Yeah, the longer you said, there's actually a bit of a warped effect there. Not what we're looking for, but it's cool. No, I said, oh, haha, wait. Transition in, we want none, and transition out, we're gonna go for fade. And maybe put it like that. Let me try something else. How do these look? Yeah. Okay. How do these look? About transitioning out. Yeah, we can use those. We can use those. It's good. Right, we have our stairs. These are the ones that lead down. And maybe to also highlight that they're the ones that come from up. Maybe, let me try something. I'm going to put in a path for a little bit extra shadow. So what I want to do is that at the top of the stairs, we have some extra shadow that covers them. And for that, this is not what I want. Let's make a 1.5 wide. Okay, still not entirely. Let's make, can I do that? Dungeondraft, you can do that? I think we have to go the opposite direction. Let's go to 1.75. Oh, that's, you're a big boy, aren't you? It's not entirely what I want. Well, I am limiting myself. The reason what I'm messing around with right now is I want to only have like this upper part in shadow, but if I draw it out, it never really truly fits. But that is because right now I am set to have everything I do snap to the grid I have on. And we might not want to do that. We might not want to have things always adhere to these lines we have on our grid. So if we don't want to do that, we can disable the snap button down here. And I'm just gonna have more freedom in my line to put shadow up here. It's a little bit darker. And that looks good. I put the snap back on because usually I do like working with snap enabled, as it makes sure that especially things like outlines, like the floor plan and the like, that those stick to my grid. But if you ever want to place items around, and we're sure going to place some items around we don't want to put on the grid, this is a good thing to do. Talking about items, I'm going to put on in this hallway, I will put in items. And I want lights. Well, not actually functioning lights, but maybe things like torch holders and the likes that the adventurers can interact with. And I'm going to scale that down a little. And I'm going to turn off the snap for that as well. I'm going to put that one in there. And then I'm going to hold. I'm going to rotate this. Put that here. Some potential places where adventurers could put some lights in. And we're gonna put those in there. Kawaii Tornado says, hey there, just gonna lurk, hang out while making maps of my own. Well, Kawaii Tornado, thank you for coming here. Let's make some maps together. I'm curious what kind of map you are currently making. So we have some lights in here, but I also, this is an old dungeon. I want some cobwebs in here. Can I get some cobwebs here? We can get some cobwebs in here. Let's make this look like my attic, where I might really have to remove some cobwebs from places. Just maybe. And I'm gonna put a few up there and some here. Over the stairs, yes. Let's have the player characters come down there and they're immediately greeted by dusty webs that fall into their faces, and they have to get that out of their face to venture further down. And do we have some debris, some rubble that I can put down here as well? Just some stuff to not make this place look too organized from the get-go. Now, let's see. I want to have those under the cobwebs. I can do that. I can do that. We have a trick for that. Kawaii Tornado says, reverting a map of a castle into a map of a monastery. My players are fighting feral sheep tomorrow. It's a long story. It sounds like a great story. There's a monastery, which used to be a castle, and there's feral sheep involved. I sure hope your players are having fun with that and that you are also having fun with that. And let's see. So we want to have this under the cobwebs, and I want to put these cobwebs over the rubble. So I am now on my select mode, and I'm going to select my cobwebs here, and I'm going to move them to another layer. So the higher the layer number, the higher the thing is layered over each other. I want to have these webs basically in one of my upper layers, still under the walls, but in one of the upper layers so I can put stuff under it. And I will be putting this on layer 4. I'll also do this already just to be safe with this one over here, up on layer 4. And now you're going to see something cool happening. As I'm going to my object tool, we were using the rubble. I have my layer set to user layer 1 over here, and I'm gonna put some debris right under the cobweb over there, and that's just for good measure. Just for good measure. Put some debris. Oh wow, this is a big ones. Gonna scale those down. Some debris up here on the staircase as well. Charming. Great way of coming down here. And that's our entry hallway. Let's put in some doors, because we're leading from our entry hallway into what we said was our antechamber. The place where maybe whenever there was a burial or something, people were first brought into there before the sarcophagus was put to rest. So let's get some doors. We're gonna go for big doors again. Double winged. Maybe let's try something different. I'm gonna do it like this. Just gonna be door here in the center. And let's do it like this. Yeah. That's where the party goes into and comes into our antechamber. Let's see. Questionnaire says they're hunting demons and something went wrong in the summoning, and so all of the sheep around the monastery are now were-sheep. And so my players will investigate the place looking for the demon, definitely not expecting the sheep to turn on them. Who would see that coming? Were-sheep. Amazing. This is gonna be fun. All right, we have a little antechamber here. I think I'm actually gonna do a few... I think I finally found what I want to do with this chamber. We're gonna go to my pattern shape tool again. And I'm actually gonna put a little bit of texture here. Well, not exactly what I was looking for. Let's take another texture. Apparently there's a movie called Black Sheep which does something like that, but I've not seen it. Black Sheep, I will warn you, full content warning, it is very gory, but I think if you're looking for inspiration for terrifying sheep, you should definitely go watch Black Sheep. It's a good inspiration for the kind of story you're describing. We're gonna put that up in there. And then I'm gonna put a bit of, well, do I have something like, something I can fence this off with? Let's see, how does this look like? No, it's not what I want. Let's see. I want to show that this is a bit of an elevated area. I think I will once again resort to my shadows. Actually, we're going to do it different. We're going to use walls for this. We're going to turn off the shadows. Oh, these are too thick. These walls are too thick. No, these walls are not doing the job. I think everyone who has ever made any kind of map or even any kind of drawing or something has run into situations where you think an idea is great and then you put it on paper and it's not as good as you were hoping. A minor setback. We'll find a solution. We keep trying. Before we know it, we find something that looks great. Something that if we put it in front of the players, they go, oh yeah, that's cool. It's going to be worth the effort. Let's see. I was with the path. Chains are not cool. We're not going to go for chains. Let's try something here. Actually, no, I'm gonna do it different. Pattern shape tool, pattern shape tool. You are absolutely not a fool. Give me shapes to play around with. Fill my dungeon with interesting looking tiles. Look out. Here comes my pattern shape tool. Actually, I might have some fun with this. Like, there is going to be, I'm gonna do it like this. This is nice. Oh yeah, Grenora, thank you for hanging out with us today. Yeah, get your phone battery charged as quick as possible. And thanks for dropping by. Enjoy the rest of your day. And let's see. Add some patterning to this as well. Just to maybe just highlight this area. This could lead up to the part of the chapel and kind of adds a little bit of texture to the whole thing. So we have our antechamber, and antechamber's gotta look cool. I want to have pillars in there. So we go to our objects and I look for pillars. Like, sometimes I don't know how the tagging in Dungeondraft leads me. When I look for pillars, it leads me to find gem pile. There's probably a reason for it. Someone has an explanation, tell me, but I haven't figured it out yet. There's got to be pillars that keep the roof up. So I'm going to take some good sturdy pillars, put them in the corners. And we have those up there. But maybe I've put all 4 in here. It's an old crypt. Why should all 4 pillars still be up, right? I'm going to have one that's collapsed. Let's make one that's collapsed. Oh, I see. I'm still drawing at scale 0.5. Let's go to scale 1. Pillars. They are to be chunky. Gonna put that in there. And I want to have a collapsed pillar here. Or at least what remains of it. It be gone. Down here. 1 pillar down. Maybe the ceiling here has become unstable as well. You could describe how there's sand and dirt regularly dropping from the ceiling. That could be something that puts a little bit of time pressure on things when the characters get here. They have to be careful. They don't want to pull down any other pillars. And maybe whoever is down here has maybe prepared these pillars with some kind of ingenious trap, if anyone isn't careful, that other pillars start crumbling down as well. Possibilities. Endless possibilities on every kind of dungeon map. Alex Shendy, good day. Well, good day to you as well. Thanks for dropping by. We are building a dungeon map today. We're making a little crypt in Dungeondraft and just hanging out. So thank you for dropping by. Let's see. So we have this in over here. And of course, this is also old and dusty. There's going to be some cobwebs here. Let's put some webs. Webs in here. Well, let's see. Where do we want a little bit of web? A little bit of web. A little bit of web. This is my life now. Picking out which kind of cobweb looks the best. Very essential decorations cobwebs. I mean, we are moving slowly, ever so slowly, into spooky season. We're all getting our fake cobwebs and skeletons from our cellars and the likes to decorate for the spooky season. Let's put a little bit of web over here. Perfect. Oh, well. Thank you, Ida, for that reminder to stay hydrated. Temperatures over here are still fairly warm, so it's important to keep those fluids incoming. And not just keep mumbling to myself as I'm building this stuff over here. All right. But we want some other stuff. We want some other things in here as well. I'm just gonna look through my object catalog. Do we have maybe some things? Oh, yes. Well, always good to put in some potential story elements. We were talking about there might be other people down here in this crypt. Maybe they left behind some of their stuff. Like, for example, there might be someone who forgot that they have a sack over here, and oh, those are a little bit big. Ah, that's too big. Let's pick with. Let's go with the other stuff. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Let's take the snap off. They left behind a note. There's a note here. What is that note? Is that a letter that some kind of bandit wrote? Some instructions that has an essential password that the party has to know? Or is it some kind of excerpt from someone's diary? Who knows? Let's see. All kinds of possibilities that we have over there. Just gonna put in some more. I want to put in some more cobwebs. Just really emphasize this place could use a good cleaning. Let's see. Okay. All right. That's so far so good for our antechamber. And we're going to pick that. Maybe we'll want to add some details later. But first, there's enough other spaces that we want to get at least some stuff into. Alex asks, are you using Dungeoncraft or Dungeondraft? I'm using Dungeondraft. This is Dungeondraft by Megasploot. Let's see. We wanted to have some stuff over here as well. I'm going back to my pattern shape tool. And I think I know what I want to put in there. Let's just go like this. Ta-da. And just to add to the pattern like this. And next up, because we know what we want in there, do we have something like a sarcophagus? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. How fancy do we want them? Oh, yes. Let's go. Let's make them fancy. Oh, wait. I want these to drop shadow. To drop that one in here. That one in there. Maybe have some that are a little bit less. And I also want one And I'm just going to leave empty because it has actually been maybe has even been broken open or pillaged, taken away from here. It's at least no longer there. Where did that sarcophagus go? Was something important in that sarcophagus? Did something rise from it? Questions. No. Plot hooks. Let's see. I also wanted a little bit like a shrine or something here. I'm just looking through my collection of assets of something I can use for that. What do we have here? It's clutter. How do I have maybe some fun clutter that I can use? And let's see. Statue. I could actually like, yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. I'm gonna put statue over here. And right, I want to have the statue on a higher layer once again. Let's put it in there. And let's go. It's not snap. Some candles under it. Maybe someone has put those candles there. They look new. Is there someone that actually comes into this crypt still? Maintains this part? Maybe knows where that sarcophagus has gone? Is there maybe one of the people that are buried here that is risen to undeath and is taking care of the place? Some kind of guardian spirit? Who knows? If you have an idea, I'd love to hear it. Something I definitely want to put in here is, you guessed it, cobwebs. Let's see, put some up there, some up there. And a few maybe here in the hallway. Can I put some in here? Yeah, perfect. Well, let's take a little zoom out. Yeah, we still got some stuff to fill, but getting there. We have a place people can already start adventuring through. But of course, let us not forget a door over here. Let's put in one. All right. We want to have a little chapel up here. That's what we said earlier. And that's what we are going to do. Let's give that chapel some stairs. A little bit of that. Up there. And let's already put up on the wall some lighting up on the wall. Some more of these. Unsnap. Up. 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 If this is a kind of chapel, I want to have some benches there. Some very old benches. Just gonna put them a little bit willy-nilly in here. Sphere here. Up here. This. This. And maybe just also some more broken stuff. Something like this. This place is not in a good state. Someone should really come and renovate this. No. Put in some new furniture. Put a new lick of color on it. That would be nice. Actually, I do think that I will move a little bit of the old furniture around because I am neglecting my pillars. That's just... Oh, whoops, that's not what we wanted. No, ma'am, that's not what we wanted. He's out. And first, let's get some structural integrity to a structure. We don't want any kind of architectural faults in our fantasy world, now do we? Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? I want some pillars. I want those to snap to grid. A few over here. Actually, I'm going to put them on a higher layer just to be safe. Like this. And then put in my benches. Exactly, Kawaii Tornado. Just imagine, like, if you forget the pillars, and everyone will totally notice that there's a severe lack of pillars for whatever kind of structure it is. It's kind of detail. And as in the pan says, won't someone please think of the rogues needing to hide for sneak attack? Yes, give your rogues things to hide behind. Let them break line of sight. Let them just, you know, get ways to set up their sneak attack. Make your rogue players happy. Who doesn't want to give people opportunities to just roll a lot of d6 for their damage? Okay, so we have this kind of place over here. We have a severe lack of debris and rubble. Put some more of that good stuff in there. Maybe even put a little bit of it. Over here. Over there. And go without the cobwebs. Like, how otherwise will I tell people this place is old, it's dusty? I keep saying cobwebs, but they are labeled as spider webs. There might be some kind of monstrous spider that has taken up residence here. Maybe you want to even up the amount of spider webs here and have your players face them. But I do ask you, as someone who is not a fan of spiders themselves, before you throw any kind of very big images of spiders in front of your players, check in with them. If there's not someone among them who has maybe a case of arachnophobia, it's always important to not just overwhelm people with these kind of things. I do personally really, I'm not a fan of spiders myself, I will admit that, but I do enjoy a good spider encounter in a video game, but I do notice that the more advanced video game graphics become, and the more realistic they look, the more creeped out I can become of them, even in a computer game. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Okay, what do we have? Let's wanna put up. Let's see what we can put up in here. I want to have a little bit. This is really going to be an altar space, so let's see if we can have some fixtures up here. Am I going to? Am I going to put this in here? Desk. No. That's not what I'm looking for. Barrel bed. Blacksmith. Can I maybe creatively use one of these assets to make it look like some kind of altar? As I've mentioned earlier, I am kind of limiting myself by just using the default assets, but there's a lot of other great custom assets that you can use. You should definitely shop around for them. Kawaii says, absolutely, we have one player who can't do spiders at all, so we don't use it. And I'm averse to zombies, so we did Tomb of Annihilation without zombies at all. Wow, I'm curious though. As far as I know, in Tomb of Annihilation, there's a lot of undead enemies. But I wonder what did you replace them with? And I do know I saw this absolute adorable screenshot. There was someone in the group of Dungeons and Dragons players who also had someone in their group that really didn't want to have spiders. So every time the GM prepared an encounter with spiders, there were still spiders as in the monsters, but the tokens were just these silly cartoon drawings of Spider-Man instead of an actual spider picture. I think that was a really good common ground to go across. We're still fighting spiders. The people at the table who want to see them as spiders can still see them, but the token on the map, that's just a silly cartoon Spider-Man that everyone can look at. I think that's a really cute and great way to deal with that. All right, I'm gonna use this as my altar, and I'm gonna put some more candles or lighting on. Oh, wait. Oh, I have an idea. Like, I'm gonna put a this used to be a bow lamp. Someone used this at one point. That's up in there. And I'm also gonna put maybe just kind of like a treasure box where some kind of money for the community was collected in. Gonna put that up there as well. Some interesting treasure that the party might come across. And if the party wants to get into this room, we need to have a door that brings them there. Let's go to the portal. Where's my portals? There's my portals. You used non-fleshy undeads like skeletons, ghouls, wights, etc. Basically anything else. And yeah, it was a good idea to change it to absolutely. Yeah. There's a large variety of undead encounters, undead monsters that you can use for that. So glad you could find a solution there. All right. Would you look at that? We're filling this space up nicely, I'm gonna briefly, really quickly make I'm gonna save this for a moment. I had this one accident once where I totally forgot on saving a map, and just hours later, I found out that I didn't save it. I closed the program. I didn't listen to any of the tooltips that came up, and that was not fun. That was really not fun. Because I saved this because I will also change the map size. I don't think I need all the space, so I will cut off some tiles at the top. All right, perfect. I am going to cut off some tiles at the bottom. Perfect. And I can do 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. Perfect. That's in there. So I am already like reduced the amount of space a bit. And we're going to make we said we wanted to do a little gallery over here. Some places where the people who built this place originally might have put down a little bit of history from the family. A place where their deeds are remembered. That's what we're actually gonna do over here. First, I'm gonna put some lights over here. And then sometimes I'm just clicking around because I totally know what I'm looking for, but I just clicked the wrong button. And that is not because Dungeondraft is a badly laid out program. It's a very well-designed program, I think. I really like the way it's set up. It's just, I get lost in software I've been using a lot, and sometimes I just don't know where to go. And I'm glad when I find my way again. We had some things that I could use. I'm gonna use these gravestones to represent plaques on the wall. Like probably lists of names, ancestors, family trees, maybe even engravings or carvings of some kind of family members that are up in here. And I could also imagine if when this place was still used, that once someone had been put to rest here, maybe some member of the family or someone else, maybe the priest, the cleric who came here, they went over into this gallery and then they added onto these tablets the achievements of the person that was now put to rest here. So you would have this long list of family achievements gathered in one place. I'm gonna put that here as well. And maybe, I was talking earlier that these kind of places, they should have been guarded. But this is also, we're making things for fantasy games, and we should not limit ourselves to what we think can guard a place. Like some kind of night watch, some guardian, bodyguard or something. Maybe magical means were used to guard this place. And talking about magic, I want to put in here. Let's see if this fits. Might be a little bit too big what I'm trying to do. But I don't care. It's my map. I put stuff on my map if I want to. And so maybe, what if I make this 2.5? Okay. So what I'm putting here, It's like some kind of, usually it's supposed to be like a standing portal or something. But let's say there's not a portal. This would be a kind of magic eye that kept observing this place. And in case any trespassers would enter, any member of the family who was attuned to an item that is linked to this magic eye would know of that and could teleport to that place. Now, in this time, this portal doesn't work anymore. It might be dormant, or the magic in it is malfunctioning. It still detects trespassers, but since there's maybe no more living members of this family who have items that are attuned to this, who knows who gets the message that someone is trespassing here. And maybe if you would acquire one of these items linked to it, maybe a ring or an amulet or some kind of stone, you could actually use that to quickly come to this part of the crypt. And maybe this is also a way that whoever is involved in whatever's going on in this crypt is how they know who else is coming in here. Who knows? Just putting it in there, putting stuff in for you to pick up. But we have a lack of debris in here, a little bit of dust, a little bit of... can we actually put in some dust or something? Do we have dirt? Well, the dirt looks more like vomit. It's not what I'm going for. I'm gonna go for a bit of rubble in here. Few piles, and especially around where the wall collapsed. Putting that in there. And then some web. Zoom in for that. Yeah. All right. So, our adventurers so far can come down in this hallway. They come into the antechamber. There's a collapsed pillar there. The ceiling might be unstable. You could describe it as sand falling down from the ceiling. The room might feel unsafe as well. Also, there's a sack and there's a note. What's on the note? What's in the sack? Who put that here? To their right, they can go into the burial chamber, and there are some sarcophagi that are still closed and old. There might be information about the family members that are put to rest here. But one sarcophagi, one alcove is empty, remains of stone from that sarcophagi. Who took it? What might have been in the sarcophagus? And also, at the end of the room, there's a statue dedicated to some kind of deity, some kind of patron saint. That's what's over here. And the candles in front of it, some of them might still actually be lit or look relatively new. Who is still taking care of this place? Is someone sneaking in here, making sure that whatever guardian deity this statue is dedicated to is still keeping the dead safe here? Further to the north, we can go off into the chapel. Pillars standing, old benches cast all around the room. And at the end of the room, there's a little altar, a little elevated area. What kind of altar is this? What kind of deity was this chapel then dedicated to? And is it still using that purpose? Are there any traces here of others who have already used it? Did others come together here, congregate here? And are they maybe the source of any kind of issues that are happening right now? And then over here, we have our little gallery, our chamber of family history. Tablets on the wall engraved with whoever is put to rest here and what their deeds in life were. In the southern wall, there is the remains of what is some kind of magic eye installation, used long ago to keep an eye on the safety of this place, but that is now malfunctioning. And who knows who still has access to the other end of this magic eye? What kind of information can still be gleaned from it? Now, one final part that we still have left that I want to fill out a little bit more is this cave part over here. We did establish earlier on that this is kind of an alcove, an alternative point of entry for adventurers. But maybe it's not the safest point of entry. Maybe there's possible danger there as well. And I want to put in some more stalagmites, as the tooltip is so polite of informing me that when these things come up from the ground, they're stalagmites, and when they hang from the ceiling, they're stalactites. So we're going to put a few of those in here, adding some texture to our place. Let's put in also some rubble. And also putting in here, there is definitely a boat here. Someone has been leaving a boat here, so someone has been coming here. Better yet, maybe there are remains of a campfire. Someone has been hanging out here, coming here. Did they just find respite? Maybe there was a storm on the sea and they found this alcove to put their boat down and just keep safe from the storm? Or are they actually aware of the broken passage further to the south? I also think I want to have something a little over here. Let's see if I can... I can find a good solution for what I'm trying to do. No. Yes. That's a hole over here. A little hole that leads even further down underground. And next to that hole, there are some remains of rope. Who went down that hole? Did something come up of that hole? Are there more caves down here? Are there maybe some of the parties involved in whatever is going on in this crypt might be coming up from that hole? And then, well, who are these people? If you're playing in a world like, for example, D&D, this could be maybe a passage to the Underdark. If you're in a Pathfinder world, this could be the Darklands, or whatever kind of world you're playing in. Maybe there is something connecting it to a further, more expansive cave system below. And you can use this as another hook that the players can find and further explore, which could add a completely new level to this. Maybe whatever is happening here on this relatively surface level of the crypt is only a consequence of what is happening further below in the dungeon. So, there you have it. After about just 1.5 hours of just casually talking with y'all, just clicking around, playing around, finding possible plot hooks, we have a neat little layout map for a deserted crypt. A crypt somewhere on a cliff near to the coast that has rumors about it being haunted, and the player characters can go here to investigate and find out what's truly happening. This little crypt has a total of 3 different points of entry. It can be through its entrance, which is just on the top ground. It can be through the alcove, or there's a potential other entry through even further levels below in the darkness. We have some potential plot hooks with a note lying around here. Someone keeping the candles lit in the burial chamber, whatever the chapel is dedicated to, and if maybe someone can tweak the magic eye enchanted wall to work again. And whose boat is this up here? Random traveler? Someone who knows more? A lot of stuff in less than 30 by 30 tiles. That's it for today. I'm gonna save this map, and if you want to use this yourself, I will be sharing both the raw Dungeondraft file of this and the actual PNG of it that you could just freely use on our Discord after this stream. If you want, you can join our Discord by following the link down below and hop on our Discord and also hang out with us, keep in touch with us. You can also follow Horde of Tales on our socials. The links are below as well, where you will always notified when we'll be going live for other streams and what kind of upcoming streams we have. And you can also check us out on our YouTube channel, where we keep all the VODs of all the streams. You can watch earlier map making streams that we did last year, but you can also find all the cool actual plays, which is something that we mostly do on this channel. All the actual plays of our long-running D&D campaign set in Eberron, actual plays of our Women in Gaming month from this July, but all kinds of actual plays of various TTRPGs are over on youtube.com/Horde of Tales. We will be back here next week on Tuesday with our regular Tuesday D&D game, Convergence Manifesto, our D&D 5th edition game set in Eberron, and it's going to be the finale session number 65 of our long, winding adventure all across the continent of Corvair, and we're going to wrap up a fantastic story that we've been weaving for almost 2 years on this channel. I would be honored if you would join us for that next week. There's a fantastic table there that I am already feeling the feels coming up, realizing that's going to be the final session of that story. And keep in touch with us in our socials. Thanks for hanging out with us here today. And I hope to see you soon again here on Horde of Tales. Stay safe. Take care. See you soon.